Good morning, dear students. Our next topic, that is the industrially important catalyst and their reactions. Okay. So here, normally, while in chemical industry, these catalysts are used widely, isn't it? And also these catalysts, they can be in the form of gaseous state, or it can be in the solid state, or it can be in the liquid states. Okay. In these three forms, these catalysts are equally important in industry. Okay. And also, see here, for the catalyst, while we are using it in industry, it should have some characteristic features. We had already seen some of the characteristic features of a catalyst, isn't it? We had gone through 7 points, isn't it? So here for industry also, this catalyst should be having some definite characteristic properties. And also the first point, the first characteristic property of the catalyst is that it should have high surface area. Okay, so that is the first point. That means it should have high surface area. And for this high surface area, what is the necessary condition? That means the catalyst should be in the powdered form, isn't it? So thus we can obtain a catalyst with having a high surface area. Then the next one, the second point is that it should have maximum porosity. That means it should be porous. The catalyst should be porous so that the molecules can adsorb onto the surface of the catalyst. So that is the second point. Then the third point is that it should have maximum thermal stability. Maximum thermal stability. That means thermal stability means, suppose while in industry the temperatures used for the reactions, it may be above 1000 degrees Celsius. So I think you can understood how much temperature is it, above 1000 degree, how much high the temperature is, isn't it? So at this very high temperatures itself, the catalyst should be stable. That means it should not decompose at these very high temperatures. Okay, so that is what is meant by the thermal stability. So the catalyst should not decompose at very high temperatures. So that is the third point. And again, the fourth point is that it should have maximum mechanical strength also. Maximum mechanical strength. That is, while we are applying any force onto it, it should not decompose, or there will not be any chemical change occurring to that particular catalyst. Then the next one, last one, it can be readily regenerated. It can be readily regenerated. That is the specific property of a catalyst, isn't it? That means once the reaction is completed, a catalyst can be regenerated. That means it does not take part in the chemical reaction, or we will be obtaining the catalyst just by changing. Sometimes the physical state of the catalyst can be changed, isn't it? But whatever it is, the catalyst will be regenerated. And also the next point is that it should have long half-life period. Okay, it should have a long half-life. So these are some of the characteristics of industrially important catalyst. Okay, high surface area, then maximum porosity should be there, then maximum thermal stability, maximum mechanical strength, and it should be regenerated. Then it should have a long half-life. These are some of the characteristics of a catalyst. Then you can go through some of the industrially important catalyst, and some of the reactions involved in the involved by these catalysts. Okay, so first one, that is the manufacture of ammonia by Haber's process. Manufacture of ammonia, the process, it is called as Haber's process, isn't it? Haber's process. And the reaction, it is N2 plus 3H2 giving 2NH3. This is the reaction going on, nitrogen plus hydrogen giving ammonia. And also here the catalyst used is iron, isn't it? Iron is used as the catalyst, and the promoter used is molybdenum, MO. Molybdenum is used as the promoter. We had gone through what is a promoter and what is a catalyst, what is the purpose of using a promoter in a particular reaction. So MO is molybdenum. Molybdenum. Okay, so this is the first reaction, Haber's process. Then the second one is the manufacture of sulfuric acid. What is that process called? Manufacture of sulfuric acid, H2SO4. The process, it is called as contact process. Manufacture of sulfuric acid, contact process. And the reaction, it will be like this: 2SO2 plus O2 giving 2SO3. Okay, so this is the contact process, and here the catalyst used is vanadium pentoxide, V2O5, vanadium pentoxide, vanadium pentoxide, or it can be platinum. Okay, vanadium pentoxide or platinum. So these two are used as the catalyst in the contact process. Then the next reaction, that is the manufacture of hydrogen. Manufacture of hydrogen, and the process, it is called as the Bosch process, BOSCH, Bosch process. Okay, manufacture of hydrogen, and the equation, it will be like this: CO plus H2 plus H2O. Do not interpret this as hydrogen. Okay, this is carbon monoxide plus hydrogen. What is the gas called? You just check it. What is the gas? A mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Okay, carbon monoxide and hydrogen giving CO2 plus 2H2. Okay, so here the catalyst used is Fe2O3. Fe2O3, it is used as the catalyst. Then Cr2O3, it is used as the promoter. Okay, chromic oxide or chromium oxide is used as the promoter, and ferric oxide, it is used as the catalyst. Okay, so these are some of the three important, industrially important catalysts. Then two more reactions are also given in your textbook. The fourth one, that is the synthesis of methanol. Synthesis of methanol. That is carbon monoxide plus 2H2 giving CH3OH. Okay, so for this reaction, ZnO, zinc oxide, is used as the catalyst. Zinc oxide is used as the catalyst, and Cr2O3, chromic oxide, it is used as the promoter. Zinc oxide catalyst and chromic oxide as the promoter. Then the fifth one, that is the manufacture of ethanol. Manufacture of ethanol. That is, this manufacture of ethanol, it is done by the fermentation of starch. Fermentation of starch. And also here the catalysts used are diastase and maltase. Diastase and maltase were used as the catalyst. Okay, so these are some of the industrially important catalysts. Okay, so first one, that is the manufacture of ammonia or Haber's process. Their iron is used as the catalyst and molybdenum promoter. In contact process, vanadium pentoxide and platinum or platinum, both are used as catalyst. In the manufacture of hydrogen, that is Bosch process. Sometimes this name of the process, it can be asked in your A part question. Okay, then Fe2O3, iron oxide as well as chromic iron oxide as does the catalyst, and chromic oxide acts as the promoter. Okay, then the next one, in the synthesis of methanol, zinc oxide as the catalyst and chromium oxide or chromic oxide as the promoter. Then in the manufacture of ethanol, diastase as well as maltase were used as the catalyst. Okay, then the next is we have to go through two main theories of catalysis. Okay, theories of catalysis. See, here two main theories are there for the catalysis, following this catalysis. The first one is the intermediate compound formation theory. Intermediate compound formation theory. And the second one, that is the adsorption theory. Intermediate compound formation theory and the adsorption theory. Okay, see here, this intermediate compound formation theory, this theory is the basis for the explanation for homogeneous catalysis. Okay, so for homogeneous catalysis, this theory gives a basic explanation, and this adsorption theory, it gives an explanation for the heterogeneous catalysis. Okay, So for homogeneous catalysis, we will be depending upon intermediate compound formation theory, while in the case of adsorption theory, it deals with the explanation for heterogeneous catalysis. I hope you all remember what is a homogeneous catalysis and what is a heterogeneous catalysis, isn't it? So first of all, we can go through this intermediate compound formation theory. Intermediate compound formation theory. I hope you are writing the notes as well. So intermediate compound formation theory. So this theory, the first point is that it explains the mechanism of homogeneous catalysis. It explains the mechanism of homogeneous catalysis. Okay. And also see here what happens is that the catalyst, suppose C is the catalyst, it will be combining with one of the reactant. Okay. It will be combining with one of the reactant to form a highly reactive intermediate compound. Okay. Highly reactive intermediate compound is formed. Then again, this highly reactive intermediate compound, it will be reacting with the second reactant. I am writing it as R2. Okay. So this highly reactive intermediate compound, it will be reacting with the second reactant to give the product. Okay. To give the product, and the catalyst will be regenerated. So the product will be formed along with the catalyst. So this is the basic explanation for the intermediate compound formation theory. It's a very simple theory. It explains the mechanism of homogeneous catalysis. Here the catalyst reacts with one of the reactants to form a highly reactive intermediate. And this highly reactive intermediate, the highly reactive means it is highly unstable also, isn't it? So this highly unstable or highly reactive intermediate, it will be reacting with the second reactant to give the product along with the catalyst, or the catalyst will be regenerated here. Okay, so we can go through an example for this intermediate compound formation theory. See, for a reaction, suppose consider a reaction A plus B giving the product AB, and also here A and B are the reactants, AB is the product, isn't it? A and B are the reactants, then AB is the product, and here C it is using as C is used as the catalyst. Okay. So for this reaction, what happens is that the first step is that the first reactant, that is A is the first reactant, it will be combining with the catalyst C to form the highly intermediate or highly unstable compound AC. Okay. So this is the highly unstable intermediate compound AC, and this AC in the next step, this highly intermediate compound AC, it will be reacting with the second reactant. Our second reactant is B, isn't it? So this will be reacting with the second reactant B to give the product AB. So here AB is the product plus C will be regenerated. That means C is the catalyst. So the catalyst will be obtained, okay, or the catalyst will be regenerated. So this is the basis for the intermediate compound formation theory, and it's a very simple theory. You have to write, while asking for this question, you have to write the explanation as well as the equation along with an example. You just go through for how much marks it is. Then while keeping it in mind, you have to write the example also. So one of the example is the oxidation of sulfur dioxide. Okay, oxidation of sulfur dioxide, and also here in the oxidation of sulfur dioxide, nitric oxide acts as a catalyst. Okay, nitric oxide NO acts as the catalyst. So the equation for this oxidation of sulfur dioxide is 2SO2 plus O2 reversible arrow giving 2SO3 in the presence of nitric oxide. Okay. So according to this theory, so on the basis of the explanation of this theory, what happens is that one of the reactants, it will be reacting with the catalyst. Okay. So the first step in the intermediate compound formation theory is that the formation of an intermediate compound, isn't it? Formation of intermediate compound. Formation of intermediate compound. So here what happens is that the catalyst, here it is NO. So this NO will be combining with oxygen to give 2NO2, nitrogen dioxide. Okay, so one of the reactant is oxygen. So this catalyst, it will be combining with one of the reactant to form 2NO2. So that is the first step. Then the second step is that the formation of the product, isn't it? So, see here, the formation of the product means it is SO3, isn't it? Formation of the product, that is SO3. So then next step, so the highly intermediate reactive compound is 2NO2, or the intermediate is 2NO2. It will be combining with the second reactant, that is SO2, isn't it? So this NO2, it will be combining with 2SO2, giving 2SO3 plus 2NO. Okay, so here the product is SO3, sulfur trioxide. Here the catalyst NO is regenerated. Okay, so this is the second this is the intermediate and this is the second reactant. Okay, so hope you understood this intermediate compound formation theory. It is very simple. You have to keep in mind an example also. If it is asked for a 4-mark question, you have to write this example also. Okay, so intermediate compound formation theory as well as adsorption theory, it is very, very, very important. Okay, so the next theory, that is the adsorption theory. Adsorption theory. See, the first point is that this adsorption theory, it explains the mechanism of heterogeneous catalysis. Heterogeneous catalysis means the reactants as well as the catalysts are in different phases. That means one may be in the solid phase and the other may be in the gaseous phase, or any other combinations like that. Okay, so here this adsorption theory, it explains the mechanism of heterogeneous catalysis. See here, the catalyst, this catalyst adsorbs the reactant molecules. Catalyst adsorbs the reactant molecules. Adsorbs, not absorb. The catalyst adsorbs the reactant molecules. Okay, so here the reaction will be carried out in 4 steps. For example, if the catalyst is in the solid phase, if the catalyst it is in the solid phase, and the reactants, and let it be in the gaseous phase. Okay, reactants and the products, let it be in the gaseous phase. Okay, so here if the catalyst it is in the solid phase, that means the catalyst can adsorb. Okay, so the first step is adsorption of the reactants on the surface of the catalyst. So the first step is adsorption of the reactant molecules. Adsorption of the reactant molecules on the surface of catalyst. See here, the catalyst, it is in the solid phase, and also it has the ability to adsorb the reactant molecules, while the reactant molecules are in the gaseous phase. So this is the first step, adsorption of the reactant molecules on the surface of the catalyst. So it will be like this. See, suppose this is the surface of the catalyst, this is the catalyst, and this is the surface of the catalyst. So what is the first step? The reactant molecules, that means here we can write the reaction. It will be like this: A plus B, both of the reactants are in gaseous phase, giving C plus D, both of them are in the gaseous phase. So here this catalyst, it is in the solid phase, and the reactants A and B, it will be adsorbed on the surface of the catalyst. So this is the first step. Okay, then the second step is that it is the formation of an activated complex. Formation of an activated complex. That is the second step. Formation of an activated complex. See here, the reactant molecules. See, in the first step, the reactant molecules are adjacent to each other, isn't it? A and B are the reactant molecules, and these reactant molecules, they will be combining to form an activated complex. This A and B will be combining to form an activated complex, and this activated complex, it will be highly unstable. Okay, See here, the reactant molecules A and B forms an activated complex. Forms an activated complex. And also they are highly unstable. This activated complex is highly unstable. So let us draw the diagram of this activated complex. This is the catalyst. Catalyst. See here, this A and B, it will be combining or it will be joining together to form the activated complex. I am not good at drawing, you just draw it very neatly, okay. So this is the activated complex A, B. And this is highly unstable also. Highly unstable activated complex. So this is the second step. Then the third step, that is the decomposition of activated complex. Decomposition of activated complex. Decomposition of activated complex. See here, in the above step, see this it forms as an activated complex, and in the third step, this activated complex decomposes to form the products. Okay, so decomposes to form the products. So here, what are the products? Decomposes to form the products. So from the first equation, the products formed are C and D, isn't it? So decomposes to give the products. And also these molecules, while forming the products, they are attached to the catalyst itself. So let us draw the diagram of the products. Okay, so this is the catalyst. Catalyst. So here C and D, two products are formed. Two products are formed, and they are again attached to the catalyst by a partial bond. Okay, so this is a partial bond and they are attached to the catalyst. Then the last one, just the reverse of adsorption, that is desorption. Okay, desorption of products, that means removal of the products from the surface of the catalyst. Desorption of products, that is removal of the products from the surface of the catalyst. So here the products are dissolved. The products are dissolved from the surface of the catalyst. So the diagram will be like this: catalyst, then C, then D. Okay. See, the partial bond is also broken. So these are the 4 steps involved in the adsorption theory. It is very simple. That means this adsorption theory, it explains the mechanism of heterogeneous catalysis, and also here the catalyst, it is in the solid phase, and the reactants as well as the products are in the gaseous phase. So first step is the adsorption of reactant molecules on the surface of the catalyst. If A and B are the 2 reactants, they will be adsorbed to the catalyst. And then the second step is formation of an intermediate compound or an activated complex. So here A and B forms an activated complex, and it will be joined together, isn't it? And it is highly unstable. And in the third step, the decomposition of the activated complex, the activated complex decomposes to form the product C and D along with a partial bond with the catalyst. And the fourth step is the desorption of products, desorption or removal of the products. So the products are dissolved from the surface of the catalyst. See, the bonds are lost, isn't it? Here a bond is there, here the bonds are lost. The temporary bond is lost. So that leads to the desorption of products. So these are the 2 important theories, and these two theories are very, very important while considering your examination. So please go through it. And if you have any doubt, please call me. And also this Thursday, I hope you can write the test paper on Google Meet. So I will inform the time also later. If you have any difficulty in writing the examination on that particular day in common, then you can call me. Okay. Okay, thank you.